What's good, ladies and gents? What's popping? How's everyone doing today? Today's going to be a doozy. We're talking about climbing that client totem pole. Yeah, climbing the client totem pole. I'm going to fix this and then we'll get going. Share with the group. Here we go. All right, we're good now. Yeah, I think so. All right, I'm going to double check. And we should be rocking and rolling. I'm going to check audio right quick. It'll sound weird. Yeah, we're good. We are rocking. All right, guys. So in today's lesson, we're going to talk about something called climbing the client totem pole. And that's a unique way of saying that there are bad clients, there are okay clients, there are good clients, and then there are great clients. And the idea today is that you can target specifically bad clients, okay clients, good clients, and great clients. You can do that by changing how you talk, the words that you use, your marketing messages, and ultimately how you communicate. And you can do that independent of your actual service. If you've been paying any attention to gyms, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Because there are gyms that are $10 a month, $20 a month, $30 a month that have the same equipment as a $300 a month gym or even a $700 a month gym. They have the same sauna equipment. They have the same weightlifting equipment. They have the same treadmills. But for some reason, Equinox can easily charge $300 to $500 a month, and Planet Fitness could never, ever, ever charge more than $20 a month. And has a lot to do with their packaging, with their wrapping, and how they talk about their products and their services. And in today's lesson, I'm going to go over 3 very strong examples. I'm going to show you the framework, and I'm going to show you how your marketing message can drastically and dramatically change who is attracted to your products and services and your personality. What's going to be even more interesting is you're going to see a lot of self-reflection in today's lesson, where you're going to say, oh, I am a bad client and I am attracted to bad client messaging. You'll also see some people say, wow, I am an amazing client and I am only attracted to amazing client messaging. And going from up to down and from down to up and stair stepping and climbing down is very easy to do. And if you do what I think you're going to do, you should be able to attract great clients to stick around for a very, very, very long time. So if you're game for this kind of information, and you should be game for this kind of information, I need you to get your keyboard fingers ready. I need you to learn to talk through your hands. I need you to tell me something in Instagram or Facebook or YouTube that you're interested, you're tuned in, and you're ready to rock and roll. Because if you are, I'm going to show you some good stuff. And this is stuff I reviewed with one of my clients who went from $300,000 a month to $1 million a month in less than 12 months. It's the same scenario I'm doing with my other client who just did $2 million in like 35 days. What the fuck, right? So if you're game, use those keyboard fingers. Give me something in the chat. And then we'll start rocking and rolling really darn quick. And we'll see what happens to take from there. So your homework right now is to throw something into that Zoom chat, Instagram chat, Facebook chat, YouTube chat, wherever it is. And then once I get enough of y'all tuning in, we'll get going. And on that note, let me bring up YouTube and make sure it's working as intended right quick. I don't think it is. Maybe. I don't think it's working. Is it? View your channel. Okay, it is working. All right, fun. All right. So let us share, and then we'll see what happens. Cool. So this is what we're going over today, right? And again, this is deserving of your attention. You should be paying attention. You should be, I clicked the wrong fucking button. This is something that is impactful, meaningful to you in your journey. So if you are deeply caring of your, I keep fucking trying to find Instagram. Jesus Christ. You'll be paying attention. So like I was saying, what we don't know is that there is some type of like client totem pole where the worst clients are at the bottom and the best clients are at the top, right? Typically, the worst clients, how would you describe them? How would you describe your worst clients? Would you say that they're like too needy? It's too much time to take care of them? Is it a scenario where they're never happy? Is it that their business just doesn't work, right? How would you describe your quote unquote, the worst clients that you've worked with in the past? Let's see. Tink Bids, you got to stay on topic, my man. Amir says, learning a skill is not a hard part, but selling it is a challenge. Nope, incorrect. Jared says, selling is finding out if somebody has a problem. Okay, whatever. And George, we're staying on point. Okay. How would you describe your bad clients? Would you describe them by saying they're too needy, you can't get them results, they can't convert, they are just not set up for success? How would you describe your quote unquote worst clients? How would you describe your worst clients? This, ladies and gents, is how you would accidentally describe your worst clients. They have no margin. They have no team. They have no brand. All they got is their hustle and their grind and all that stuff. These are by far the worst clients. They have nothing, nowhere, no how, and they're always 1 month away or 1 week away from success or being destitute or just not having any type of consistent business success at all whatsoever. What's interesting is, for the most part, advertising and marketing people like Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy, and Alex Hormozi are typically attracting these kinds of people. And you can see that in their messaging. So again, here on the left, this is the kind of client on the totem pole. And on the right is the messaging that is attracting those types of clients. You'll see risk reversals, you'll see risk-free, you'll see instant, you'll see identity focused, right? This is how Russell Brunson got me and 10 other people, or a whole generation of people, into the industry. You'll see things like, I'll help you blank, without blank, even if you blank, and if it doesn't work, I'll refund you $1,000 for wasting your time. I'll help you get 10 new jobs in 36 hours that want to buy your HVAC units, or else we'll pay you $1,000 for wasting your time. That marketing message is wildly attractive to the people that have no margin, no team, no brand, nothing. and wildly unattractive to people who actually run a business. And if I run a business and I want to sell it in 2, 3, or 4 years, I am not interested in this type of messaging at all whatsoever. So if I put this in my ads, I'll only get the worst people. If I want the best people in the business, I need to talk better wording and better language. CFO, COO, leverage, automation, enterprise value. Those are the types of words that make sense for great clients. And then you have that middle space between great and bad. You'll see things like case studies, walkthroughs, margins, efficacy, dashboards, things like that. Stereotypically, if you are running ads that talk about this, if your offer is talking about this, if your messaging and your communication is talking about this, you will attract the worst clients. If your messaging is case studies, walkthroughs, education, and proof, your messaging will be better. If we talk dashboards, KPIs, and margins, your clients will be better. And if we talk enterprise value, your clients will be all the way up here. Here's what's very interesting. These tier 1 survival clients are always 1 month away and need amazing results immediately. Those are the type of people that say, fuck it, what do I got to lose? Have never heard of you before, have never looked you up. They saw an ad and say, all right, I'll just buy right now. Those are the worst clients. They make bad decisions. They don't research. They don't know what's going on. And they put everything on you. They are desperate. They are reactive. They have no planning. And they rely purely on hustle. And when you think of the hustle culture, aka Gary Vaynerchuk, those are very, very rarely wildly successful businesses. And those are very often people that rely on hustle and grind and have no planning, no systems, and for the most part, no margin. These tier 1 survival mode clients are doing everything that they can to cancel as soon as possible. I don't need this cost. It's too expensive. There's no ROI. It didn't happen fast enough. And because they are unsuccessful, the most they could do is $500, maybe $1,500. And they are fighting you for it. Fighting you every step of the way. This is why you will see some people like me be able to charge $5 or $10K a month. And you can talk to the same client and he will never ever pay more than $500. It's because of how you describe your products and services and your advertising and marketing. This is why my thesis of irresistible offer is the worst thing in the industry, because it's only attractive to the worst businesses. Businesses that are filled with people that are overly emotional, frantic, unpredictable. They buy on knee-jerk decisions and hope and urgency. If you've ever been on a sales call and a person says, oh, I hope this works because I need to work immediately, you're talking tier 1 messaging. And then this person who is emotional, frantic, unpredictable, has no systems, no margin, no USPs, does not run an actual business, well, they do this. It's always your fault the lead didn't convert. It's always your fault stuff didn't go up on time. It's always your fault, which means they're going to be churning out real quick. Their payments don't go through. They're emotionally volatile. The worst clients in the world. That's how this works. If you have tier 1 survival mode messaging, you're only going to talk to tier 1 survival mode clients. Let's talk tier 2. This is the guy or the gal that has a business running. They just need to be everywhere at once, right? They are not necessarily stable, but they're barely stable. They have a small team. They're surviving on referrals. They want consistency over the chaos of life. At least they have a business. They're just stretched very thin. As such, it is for some people. These types of clients will stereotypically stick with a vendor for like 3-6 months. Not long enough, but not short enough. They'll be able to pay up to $1,500 to $3,000 a month. You'll get 10 grand in total, and this is how they exist. They talk a lot, but they are overwhelmed with the decisions and the places they need to be. They've got 10 things going on all at once. Things are falling through the cracks. They're on their way in their journey, but they're not 100% sure. They need to have like reassurance that this is going to work. They don't know, but okay, fine. I just need to know if this has worked for somebody else, because if it's worked for somebody else, I'll make it work. They respect the process. They struggle to execute because they need to be everywhere all at once. And typically their challenge here is they're going to burn out. So they'll push really, really hard. They'll work 7 days a week, work 15 hours a day, and they'll be able to make $50,000 a month. They're like, wow, we've made it. And then they get sick or they burn out. They'll ghost you not because they don't want to, but because they run out of space in their brain to talk. There's too many things going on. Better than survival mode, but they're just stretched thin. Tier 3 is that they need to be organized. They've got a stable business. They've got trucks. They got staff. They have an idea of systems, which means first we do this, and then we check it. Next we do this, and we check it. Then we do this, and we check it. And they're having a conversation internally and externally with you about return on investment. These types of businesses are in the beginning of actually being a business. So it's stereotypically what you imagine, where it's like 2 or 3 people in an office, 5 to 8 people out in the field. They're on the phone rings, somebody can pick up the phone. Yeah, Mr. Johnson, how can I help you? We'll have somebody out there tomorrow. They've got like a dispatch system, that kind of stuff, right? They'll stay on board with like for 18 months because when they're hiring somebody, that's how they think. They're like, yeah, we want to keep people for 1.5 years minimum. I don't have to go through all this and hire somebody again. 3K to 7K, 20 to 60K. And this is how they talk. They are listenable and coachable. They are aware of something called key performance indicators, because they know if they do a certain number of onboarding calls, or if they dispatch a certain number of trucks, or if they have their systems in line, they can measure them with KPIs. When was the last time we talked to this coach, to this client, with these results, on these checkpoints, with these reports? They want data and dashboards and forecasts. They listen to your recommendations. And they're loyal if you can generate results. That window for generating results is much bigger than the other clients. They're very loyal and they're very manageable. This is where you start to have conversations with real businesses right here. This is the good stuff. This little fucker, right? If it's tier 2 and tier 1, you're spending so much time dealing with their bullshit, doesn't feel like you're actually running shop. And if you accidentally create marketing messaging around tier 1, tier 2 clients, you yourself will be building a business on people who are unstable, overly emotional, have no margin. It's not great. Tier 3 is where you start to have real relationships with real people who run real businesses. And there's tier 4. These are the people that want to sell their business. They care about the biggest of the numbers, valuations. They plan their beginnings. They plan their exits. They want to grow intentionally. They have a map of where they want to target and focus and go. And they are delegating in a way that makes sense. You are part of them delegating. For us to hit this mark, hit this metric, we need a certain number of things to happen. And Jeff is going to be focusing on those numbers. These people will make investments in their team, not hiring, not I need to buy this right now, not impulsive. They're investing in their team. I've had clients pay me $5,600 to $7,800 a month. That stuck around for 2 years because they think like this. The cool part is if you think like this, you'll naturally beat out everybody else who's overreactive. If we're in the business of talking about fitness coaches as an example, this is the best coach to work with. HVAC companies, the best HVAC company to work with. It's easier to talk to them. They're in a direction and you're not driving their boat. You're just fueling the fire. Their lifetime value is $100,000 to $250,000 a month. They value precision. They have patience. Wow. Patiences. They have patience. I'm having a day. And they're analytical. So when you're having your monthly meeting with them, you're showing numbers. When they buy from you, they want to talk to you. They want to talk to your referrals. They want to talk to your references. They're going to do their due diligence. They're not in the business of making investments on knee-jerk reactions. They're in the business of making investments based upon due diligence. And very often, they'll ask you to be part of their executive meetings where they meet once a month to talk about their numbers. It just works. And these are the type of clients that say, look, dude, do whatever you want. Just give me a monthly update. I don't care as long as it's within range. It's up to you. They have low churn, high trust, and they expect someone smart and someone sophisticated. So if you're not sophisticated and you're not smart, you're never going to get these clients. Most of you all are sitting down here as a tier 1 survival mode client, expecting, and you believe you are deserving of tier 4 clients. And we all know it ain't going to happen. You just keep lying to yourself, thinking that if you do more work, you'll talk to tier 4 clients. And I'm the only person saying you got to talk differently. You can't be doing more desperate, reactive, emotional, unpredictable, non-planning, non-execution line of thinking. That will keep you down here. If you start talking this, you're going to start attracting real useful clients. As a concept, again, you and your clients exist on a totem pole. If you find yourself always talking to and working with the worst clients in the world, guess where you are? At the bottom, where you belong. That's like people who are fat complaining that there's no Victoria's Secret models out there. Yeah, that's because that's where you are. You don't deserve it. What you're doing is keeping you here. You need to talk up here, as illustrated by this. So if you are always jumping on the next one funnel away challenge, thinking if I read this one book, it's going to change my life forever. If you have no systems, no planning, and you can't even think about the next week, much less the next month or year, you're never going to talk to tier 4 clients. The content, the message, the communications, and the wording that you use online, in person, in your advertisements, place your ad accordingly. There's a reason why you're down here. And there's a reason why you're not up here. I'm going to give you some real life examples. Here's an HVAC business. If you run ads that say, I will get you 10 HVAC jobs in the next 2 weeks or you don't pay, we'll fill your schedule this month guaranteed, you're only going to talk to tier 1 clients that are solo techs, that compete only on price, that have no systems, no admin, no help, no CRM. People call and I pick up where they don't. They're too busy on the job. That's what's going to happen. If you start running ads that say, I'm going to turn your marketing into an asset that private equity can value, you're going to talk to these people. I'll give you another example. If I run an ad that says, my name is Jeff and I run ads for HVAC technicians, I'll be at the bottom. If I run an ad that says, hey, my name is Jeff and I create advertising marketing systems for HVAC companies, so when they go to sell for 3 to 4x their multiple, a private equity company will line up and want to buy them because their marketing is on point and generating KPIs and dashboards. Using our systems, when a business does decide to sell, instead of selling for 2x, they'll sell for 3x or 4x. I'm immediately talking to a better HVAC company. I'm immediately talking 20K a month contracts. I'm immediately doing what I'm supposed to do. It's the same service, but I'm talking differently to attract different attention. Again, if you run these ads, you're at the bottom. If you talk like this, you're at the top. Very easy concept that everyone just decided to forget about. I'll give you another example. In the fitness space, if I run an ad that says, hey, I'll help you drop 10 pounds in 10 days, no cardio, no counting, just results, I will only be attracting people who are overly emotionally reactive and are easily discouraged. If I run ads that message and communicate how you can build consistency without burnout or restriction, I'm going to talk to people who want improved accountability. If I run an ad that says, I help high-performing professionals build energy and focus without living at the gym, I'm going to talk to high-performing professionals who want energy and structure. They value efficiency and understand the basics. But if I start talking about body composition, longevity, energy, data-driven systems, I'm going to be talking to executives who invest in their health as an ROI decision. And I can run messaging and marketing on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever your channel happens to be, and communicate as such. That's why I have some clients closing $20,000 contracts and some clients barely closing $497 a month. It's not what they're doing, it's how they're talking about it. Here's another example, and this is in the coaching space. You'll see ads all the time. Get your first 5 clients with 0 followers with 0 experience. The worst. All of a sudden, the seller of the service is talking to people who have no niche, no clarity, no offer, no clients, won't call people back. I'm not sure. This doesn't feel aligned. I'm thinking about doing something different. The worst people in the world. Or I can talk about retention through infrastructure. Oh, hello. Now we're in business really, really quick. Again, as a concept, if you talk risk reversal, if you talk overnight success, if you talk emotions, if you talk about this is going to work overnight, you're talking to the worst clients in the world. But if you're talking leverage, leadership, legacy, valuations, if you're talking systems, delegation, information, and data, you're talking to much easier clients that have much more budget, that are much more interesting to work with, and don't cancel 29 days into your agreement because they plan, because they scale intentionally, because they are not a no margin, no team, no brand business relying on hustle. They want to sell that stuff, and that requires stability, growth, and sophistication. The reason why I'm telling you this is that very often you are accidentally targeting poor, badly run, horrific businesses who flood your funnels, who fill out your forms, who drive you effing wild and have no money to actually spend. You'll send them 1,000 text message notifications saying, oh, we have a meeting right now. And like, oh, sorry, I forgot. How the fuck did you forget? They didn't. They're just bad fit clients. There's a reason why they are poor and will always be poor. You cannot help them. Or you can advertise to the right client who does not flood your funnel, who does their research, who is having direction and strategy and motivation, doesn't require you spending all your time with them to talk about mindset, and already is successful. They are a rocket ship that just wants an extra boost. That's it. This is the difference between businesses that work and businesses that don't. It's simply a marketing and messaging communication problem, one that can be solved pretty quickly. If you got questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or ideas, now is the time to ask. We can review the client totem pole one more time. You can ask questions, comments, concerns, all that jazz. I'll bring it up again right here. And then we'll take it from there. Let me fix my face. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. George says, what's your take on Andromeda? Are you using 10 different creatives to keep decent results? What's your feedback? I'm having a great time with Andromeda. We're doing $50 appointments, $30 appointments, $60 appointments. You have to dramatically change how you approach your advertising and how you structure your ads, write your ads, things like that. They need to be based upon awareness stages, and they need to be based on avatars. And it's no longer about the throw everything on the wall and see what sticks. It needs to be more purposeful and more structured. And you need to create content that fits into awareness stages. So the people that I hang out with are like having a great time with Andromeda. They just absolutely love it. And I'm one of them. So there you go. Neon says we're going to get this document. I'll attach it in the chat and then you can take it from there. Let's see what other challenges or questions. Antonio says emotion, as in they don't try to get them emotional on a sales call. Correct. That is part of it. A lot of people have this approach of like, they feel in business that it's working or it's not. A lot of people have this approach saying, I need to like have a deep, meaningful connection with my vendors or whatever the hell it means. Or they got to like feel it out. They'll often say that. But those are the businesses that stereotypically are at the bottom. And if you're in a sales call and you're in B2B, you got to say, how would your kids feel about this investment? I know immediately we're talking tier 1 clients. Immediately. If we're having conversations and saying, hey, what's your game plan and your strategy and your vision for the next 2-3 years? And then we'll figure out if my products and services can help you achieve those goals. That's a tier 1 client. Really, really quick. So Antonio, you are directionally correct with saying emotion as in get them emotional on a sales call. I don't know any business executive, anybody that runs a team, senior vice president, whatever it is, that goes, I need to make an emotional decision today. They don't. They have quarterly or monthly meetings. They set the goals, they hit them, and if they're missing something, they find somebody who can provide the fix. It's not emotion. Matt B-Top says, are you still doing retainers as before? Correct. Yeah. I see you're selling system installs and management fees on the side. I have people that will do like a 5K, 10K setup. I have a setup fee as well, but it's still retainers. Like we don't charge per result or per fee or per ad budget or something like that. I was on the phone with somebody who does 5K a month and then 1% of ad spend. And I was like, well, that's never going to happen. I will never, ever agree to that ever whatsoever. And I was serving as the CMO on a call of business that does about $3 million a year. I was like, I'm not paying 1% of ad spend. Get the hell out of here, bro. You're not a credit card company. Not going to happen. I'll entertain the idea of a 5K a month retainer, but not 1% of ad spend. See you later. Goodbye. So that's the current setup that we have now. So far, it's working. We have a guy doing, well, let me look at the Slack channel right quick. Let's see. We have a guy doing $5K a month consulting. We have a guy doing $10K a month setup and $2K a month. We have a guy that did $500,000 a month in revenue for his client in September. We have a guy doing $60 booked appointment. A guy on the phone with a 15 location business. That kind of stuff. That's how we have it set up. Khan says, are you guiding that emotional marketing works really well or not? I'm not sure what you're trying to say here at all. Try rephrasing and maybe I can do something with for you. But the basic structure here is you got to have better clients. And to that, you just simply need better messaging. And that's it. It's a very simple process. What is your setup fee like if you're willing to share? Yeah, I charge 3K to 5K setup and then 2 to 3K a month. And people seem pretty happy with that. We got a guy doing, yesterday he did, what did he do? Let me look him up. Yesterday he got 23 booked appointments at $55 a pop. So yeah. Khan says, would you recommend emotional marketing? Well, you've got the answer in front of you, my man. If you want to do tier 1 people, that's on you. If you want to do tier 2 people, that's on you. Tier 3 or 4. It's your decision. The answer is right in front of you. Kabul says, hi, Jeff. Is the live will be accessible? What is with this fucking wording, guys? Like, hi, Jeff. Is the live will be accessible after it ends? Is the live will be? Yes, the live will be accessible after it ends. Is the live will be? Okay, whatever. So yeah, the live should be accessible on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, wherever you're watching it. What are the questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or ideas? Ask now or forever hold your peace. Scott says, what type of payment structures, offer services appeal most to tier 1 businesses, or is it all about how you talk? Very good question. So tier 1 stereotypically is like survival mode businesses. They're 1 month away. They got no money, no time. They're all flustered, frustrated, that kind of stuff, right? Your offer, your payment plan, what you do comes after they've read your messaging, not before. So that means if I'm running an ad and that says, get 10 8-track jobs in 2 weeks or you don't pay, right? Then they go, I'm interested in that and say, okay, let's talk about payment, right? If you're an ad that says altering your marketing to an asset that private equity can value, they agree with that, then you talk payment, right? So payment comes after the fact, not before. It's all about how you talk and you position the service and your messaging and your wording. Doing that will rank you up or down the client totem pole, will make you attractive or unattractive to X number of clients, right? And then you have conversations about payments. Yeah, so not before. Zog says, we all know Hormozy style offer convert the bottom category of clients. What wording convert 3 or 4? Correct, right? So stereotypically, the Alex Hormozy, Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy, fill in the blank money, math, marketing is very, very attractive to survival mode people. That's just how it is, right? If you want to have wording and verbiage that is attractive to the higher tier clients, like tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, that kind of stuff, your wording is here on the right side of this, right? Enterprise value, private equity, longevity and data-driven systems, client retention infrastructure. That's the type of stuff that is attractive to those higher tier clients. What's interesting is I can show an amazing client an ad for a shitty client, and they will never sign up, never be interested. They won't even consider it. It'll be like background noise, doesn't even exist anymore. They are just so not into that, it is almost repulsive. And I show the same client a tier 4 ad. They're like, yeah, of course that makes sense. Of course I'd be interested in selling my HVAC business for 4x of a multiple, because if I do a 4x instead of a 3x, I can make an extra $850,000. So if that is done correctly, I should just hire a guy who's very good at that, setting that up, so I can check that box with a private equity company. So if it costs me $50,000 and I make $850,000, obviously that's a great investment. See what I mean? Very different conversation. Khan says, can I get this document? Maybe eventually if I feel like being nice. And Jeffrey says the other way around, tier 4, the good ones, but nice answer. There you go. Yeah, so it's all about the words you use in your ad, your headlines, your articles, your marketing messaging, your YouTube messaging, your Instagram reels, that kind of stuff, LinkedIn, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? Most people have an emotional heart attack. And they're like, oh my God, LinkedIn is filled with trash, or LinkedIn is filled with great, or it's all Instagram, all YouTube. No, man, it's what you're saying. It's what you are effing saying. If you want to change how you listen and change how you talk, stop subscribing to the people I mentioned on YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn, and instead listen to people who actually run and build significant, massive businesses. They also have podcasts. There's like 5 listeners, and they know what the fuck they're talking about. Talk like them, and then you'll end up attracting them. B-Top says, I find some of my long-term clients give me problems because they think I don't do enough work. They're making $150K a month, and I honestly don't do much. I just check the ads and apps and make sure there's enough. The results are good, but I think I'm not doing enough every month. I tell them to look at the results, and basically they're annoyed at my lack of effort. What's your monthly workload like for clients after 3 or 4 years of being with them? Okay, good question. So you can see right here that the average retention is about 3 years. Lines up very, very quickly with what you're referring to here. Surprisingly so, right? And then the interesting conversation is you probably are approaching their lifetime value, which means one of 2 things. 1, it's time for you to do something different, AKA additive or subtractive to the service. Or B, find more clients like them. To get specific, the not doing enough can often mean in the advertising marketing space that we're not doing enough tests, enough checks, we're not doing enough ads, we're not doing enough marketing messaging or communication, we're not pumping out useful documentation for them and their team. And if I was in the marketing space, which I am, and if I was generating 1,000 leads a month, which I am, and helping my client make $150K a month, which I am also, if they said this to me, I would say 2 things. I would go, you're right. I need to do more. I want you to take your sales calls, send them to me. My admin is going to transcribe them. We're going to turn them into articles. And then I'm going to give them to you and some talking points. And we're going to create objection handling reels. And from now on, whenever a client gives an objection to your salesperson can just show them the reel. Thanks. You see what I mean? It's just additional service, right? What's interesting, like I mentioned before, average retention, 3 years. You're on that high end really quick, right? Maybe they want some analytical stuff. They want a whole list of hooks that didn't work, right? They want a whole list of hooks that did work. They want an Airtable of ads that are producing the best or nothing or not at all. Maybe they want sophistication. Maybe they want you to be part of the executive team. So if you have clients saying you're not doing enough work, just agree with them and do more stuff. That's it. It's an extra 30 minutes a day on the high end. Probably an extra 30 minutes every other day to create what I just mentioned. So it's very doable. Let's see what else. I think that's everything. Let's check Instagram for any comments. No, I think that's it. All right, guys. I'm going to bounce. I hope this was useful. If you want to watch a replay, it's on YouTube and should be on Facebook and maybe Instagram, depending upon. But that's everything. And the big lesson for today is realizing that it's not your product, it's not your service, it's not your team, it's not your offer that is attracting or repelling bad or good clients. It's exclusively how you talk about what you do. If we had to do an equivalent in the modern day world and have some physicality of it, it's the equivalent of dressing for your part. And there are plenty of geniuses out there that cannot at all whatsoever figure out a way to put on a fucking tux and go to the Met Gala and schmooze and booze. They can't figure out how to do it. Don't know how. So they'll never be in front of people at the Met Gala at all. They can't figure out how to give a speech. So they'll never be in front of people who want to listen to a speech. Instead, they dress like trash. They talk poorly. They look like hell. And then just get angry because they're not rich enough. And then they see some idiot kid who can dress, who can speak, who does get their hair cut, end up with a $1 million a month retainer, $1 million a year retainer. And then they get all sorts of pissed, pointing fingers saying, but my stuff is better than him. I'm better than him. I'm a number one person. That person is third, fourth, or fifth place. Well, guess what? The people that want to pay $1 million a year, they can't even see you. It's the same way with marketing. How you talk determines your placement on Instagram, your placement on Facebook, your placement on YouTube. It's not your targeting. It's not your list. It's what you're saying in your ad. And if you talk to tier 1 clients, you'll only talk to tier 1 clients. Maybe this is your wake-up call to talk to tier 4 clients. That's it. Peace out.